What role does assistive technology play in student independence? I'm Mike Loder. The Tech Edge starts now. Hello everyone, it's good to be with you back on the Tech Edge, now presented by the team at AvePoint, where each episode we delve into the latest industry trends for business IT and their significance in today's ever-changing landscape. Now, assistive technology empowers students to showcase their understanding while enhancing their learning experience through greater independence and self-advocacy. To share how this technology can even the playing field, we're joined by student Hamish Blackburn alongside his mother, Alyssa Blackburn, my usual co-host. A special episode today. I want to thank you both for joining me in the studio. Let's talk about what types of technology that you guys use to make things a little easier.
Absolutely. So, Mike, it might be worth just pointing out to begin with that Hamish is a person who has a vision impairment. What you and I maybe would need to be 15 metres away to see, Hamish needs to be 6 metres away to see. So assistive technology is absolutely essential for him, particularly in a learning environment, because he can't see without it, basically.
Right, so if you're sitting at the back of the classroom, not great. Is that what the sort of thing we're talking about?
I've only been in the front and second row.
Okay, there you go. That's where I always sat too, and I think I did better in class because of it, just quietly. But,
It could have been because you were misbehaving, but...
It definitely was because I was misbehaving and talking. But what types of technology are we talking about? Do those glasses have some sort of technology in them that are zooming lenses and things out of James Bond? Is that what I'm picturing?
I think you're looking into the future.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But what sort of technology are we talking about when we...
They're transitional, so if I'm outside for too long, they will go darker.
Cool, very cool.
Inside, then they'll go lighter.
And what about when we're at school and you're sitting in class and you're, keeping up with learning and things like that? What sort of technology do you get your hands on?
I get a big iPad Pro, bigger and smaller magnifying glasses and stuff like that.
And so why is having an iPad Pro important? Can you give us some examples of what you might use that for?
There's only one example that I've really used it for.
That's okay.
There was, we were learning in maths, we were learning about graphs, and I couldn't see the names that were on the side of the graph, so got my iPad, took a picture, and just read them on the paper.
When you said you had one example, I thought you were going to say Minecraft. I'm glad it was an actual maths problem that you were solving. Can you tell us about a time when technology made it easier for you guys to complete homework assignments? Obviously, you've got to take a little bit of work home sometimes. Anything you could bring to mind?
Last year. So, well, I had this book, but the writing was so small. So I had to get out this big magnifying computer. You put the book there are two stands, and then there's a screen up there. I'm not sure why it has to be so big, but
And then we put the book under the screen. It's like a CCTV camera, and we can point the CCTV camera at the book, and it magnifies it on the screen. So where writing is too small, or things like contrast isn't great. So particularly when you've got something like blue on black, we had a book about the ocean, remember? That we just couldn't see because we had the blue ocean and the black writing, and it was too difficult to see. So these type of assistive technologies can really help Hamish to be able to see and put him at the same level as the rest of his classmates.
And obviously, how important is that as a parent when it comes to equality or equity in the classroom?
Absolutely, it was a big thing. Hamish wasn't diagnosed with his vision impairment until he was 6, because I am an excellent parent.
Okay.
I think, what I'd like to say is that he's so intelligent and clever that he was compensating, and we just didn't know, because he was working out his own areas of compensation. So one of the things that he used to do, for example, was everywhere he would walk with his hand on a wall. And we were right in the middle of COVID, and he would be walking around touching everything. But that was his way of finding, because he didn't even have glasses at that time. That was his way of finding his way around. And his, again, excellent parent would be shouting at him all the time, "Stop touching things!" But that's just how he was.
That's how you adapt and overcome.
Exactly.
Very, very cool. So is there a favorite application or tool that helps with vision impairment that you wanted to tell us about today?
Libby, the library app.
Okay, tell us a little bit more. What does it do?
You can enlarge the words by zooming in, zooming out.
That's pretty cool.
Basically like a normal library, but at home.
Yeah. very
Yeah,
nice. You guys have
So
access to that?
what it does is, instead of having obviously physical books through the library that you would go and borrow, it allows Hamish to borrow things on his iPad, so that we can put it at a size that he can actually see. So most vision impaired people would not be able to access a library in the same way that everybody else could access a library, but the Libby app gives him the opportunity to borrow audiobooks, or to, as he said, increase the size of text and things like that, which makes the whole library and reading experience just that much more accessible, where it wouldn't have been previously. And I think that this is a really important point to make, not just for Hamish, but for all people who are living with a disability or different challenges, is that technology is a key enabler to put them at the same level as everybody else. Because if I think about even 20 years ago, for example, with Hamish going through a school system, we would have been so much more challenging than with the tech that we have available to us now. So it's been such a key thing, enabling him to stay at just a mainstream school in a mainstream class and do things that, his classmates are normally doing.
Yeah, and hang out and, with your friends and all that stuff as well, which, is so important, especially at your age. But how do you use technology to take notes? It's one thing to sort of read and that sort of stuff once that's sorted. But how about the more practical stuff, like taking notes and writing things down?
The app called Notes.
That is a very good answer, and I should have seen that one coming.
Absolutely. One of the things that we did struggle with Hamish, and still to this day struggle with, is Hamish really struggles to write, because anything fine motor can be a little bit challenging. And he continues to work with an OT now on some of that writing stuff. But what we established really early with the support of the school and his educational support people was that writing just wasn't going to be his main form of communication. So we went to typing. And so from the time he was very, very young, so I think you were only 5 years old, weren't you?
Yeah, I just started prep.
Yeah, we started typing class, and we had a modified keyboard where we put stickers on the letters of the keyboard so that they were bigger, so that he could see them, because writing was just never going to be his area of communication. So we use typing now, and he's probably a better typist than many adults, actually, I would say, because he started doing it from...
No, you're still better than me.
I am better than you, that's true, very true.
For now. Yeah. Give it time. This is what I want to ask you. I'm glad it's on there. Let's talk games and educational apps, right? How is that stuff accessible to you? And what kind of games do you play when you can?
He can't necessarily play games in the same way that everybody else can. So having an iPad or having technology available to him has really enhanced that. So Hamish has two sisters, and they like to play Roblox together. Yes. Because it's something that they can do online, and it's something that, because he does have access to that iPad and things like that, that they can do collaboratively, that they can play together, whereas they may not be able to, say, run around in the sun, because that has a significant impact for Hamish and his vision. But it is something, using technology, that they can work on together. And
it's been proven the social aspect that gaming can bring to the table. Just ask my producer and myself. But let's talk about staying organised with school assignments, schedules, things like that. I used to write things on the whiteboard that was on the fridge at home. And take us through a little bit about what you guys get up to.
So we see
Tuesday every fortnight, Wednesday in the middle of school.
We have the OT.
Shantara.
Yeah.
IoT.
Yeah. And so then we have lots of other medical appointments as well that we have to keep on top of, don't we? So some of the things that we do there, again, we're back into the using the technology again. It's things like having shared calendars, knowing who needs to be where and when and things like that. So Hamish works, as he said before, every fortnight with a physio to help improve some of that phone motor skill. He works with an OT, but he also has medical appointments with his paediatric ophthalmologist and other industry experts to keep an eye eye on his vision. So it's a big coordination effort, definitely. In a busy family of 5 people.
Yeah.
So shared online calendars are really helpful. Lots of parents shouting at each other also comes in
Only
handy, definitely.
Alyssa, what about teachers and the staff members? Have your teachers been kind and helping out and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, most teachers don't care because they don't need to get involved.
Well said.
But they've also been incredibly supportive and in putting adjustments in place for Hamish. So that's including
That's
things
the nicer way to say it.
It is the nicer way to say it, which is why I chose to go in that direction, definitely.
That direction isn't a good way.
Anyway, things like asking for additional time for NAPLAN, for example, because there's a lot of reading
Not
in NAPLAN. Yeah, I know. Who would?
I hate NAPLAN.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I feel your pain. I'm remembering it now.
Having the big statements from Hamish come out today, definitely. But
They're not that big.
Having extra time to be able to do assignments and the way that he perhaps submits assignments was a real adjustment for teachers to have to make. But they've been absolutely gone above and beyond in terms of some of the support and things like that that they've been able to give him to ensure that he can be assessed in the same way that his peers are, because it's not that he doesn't know the information, it's just that he can't communicate it in the same way.
Present it, etc.
That's exactly right.
So I want to know from both of you, what advice would you give to, say, parents or perhaps fellow students and people your age or in your age bracket who might be going through the same thing? What advice would you give them to, keep going, keep learning and not give up?
Tell someone. Main thing, tell someone.
Yeah.
Communication, good.
Yeah. So when you can't see the board, pop your hand up, tell the teacher. When, things are a bit bright outside, let somebody know things are going on. Yeah.
I think that's really good advice.
Definitely.
Profoundly good advice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So simply put, and of course for the
Absolutely.
parent as well.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing has been a learning for me is to not, I think a lot of people have a lot of fear about technology and, putting devices in front of kids and things like that. For me, it's actually been the game changer. It's been the thing that has saved us, most definitely. And when I look towards the AI revolution that's happening now, it actually fills me with hope, because it does, you give Hamish a 50-page document to read and analyse. He's never going to be able to do that because it's too much pressure on his vision. Yeah, exactly. But you give him that document and AI, and all of a sudden we've got a whole different kettle of fish, because that AI can help him narrow that down. It can revise it. It can put it into a PowerPoint presentation. There's all these really cool things that are going to be available for him that puts him at the same level as everybody else. And I think that is something to be really excited about.
Absolutely. Well
You
said.
had me at PowerPoint presentation because Keynote is my number one thing.
There you go. There you go. An advocate for the Apple software there. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on the program, running through it with us. Hamish, thanks for coming down. And of course, big happy birthday for you tomorrow. That's the program for the moment. Hopefully you've learned something from our discussion. I look forward to seeing you again very soon right here on Ticker. Be well.
You're watching Ticker. We'll have more in just a few minutes.